Hey guys, Eric here with the BBQ HQ, and today I'm going to go over one of my favorite tools that I use, and that is the Fireboard Spark. So I've been a big fan of anything that comes out Fireboard, and the Spark came out, and hearing what they were going to do, I was very excited. Well, once I got it, started playing with it, I'll be honest, it didn't quite settle on me immediately. I had been so used to the Thermopen and a few of the things of the Thermopen, but once I understood the complexities of this awesome little tool, I began to utilize it more and more, and now it's something I use every day for cooking. So as many of you know, I'm a firefighter, and that means for me traveling station to station, I like to cook at the station. Instead of me carrying around a Thermopen and a Fireboard so I can do remote monitoring, this has combined the best of both worlds into one. So what I mean about it is not only is it a great instant read thermometer, so pull that out, it lights up, it's got all the good stuff that you would get with the Thermopen. Set it down, it automatically shuts off, just pick it back up and it turns back on. You can see the display rotates nicely as you move it around. It's a very nice lit, backlit display. The other really cool thing is that when you use it to take a temperature, it gives you a feedback. It'll vibrate when it has obtained that temperature. Now, it's not as fast as a Thermopen, especially a Thermopen 1. It's just a touch slower, but you know what? It's good enough for what I'm doing with it. So the other big thing that I really like about this is it is Wi-Fi, it is Bluetooth enabled, all the stuff that you'd expect out of a Fireboard. So why is that so important for me? When I'm, again, traveling around, I'm trying not to bring all this stuff with me. Not only do I use it in the fire station, I use it while camping. And again, trying to keep lightweight, low profile, and have stuff that works. So what's really rad about this is you have a port on the back to plug in a wired thermometer. Now it takes the thermosistor, not the RTD style. And you can see once I plug it in, it tells you external. I got the Pro open, I can still use this and read what's going on there. It is really slick. So I love it for the fact that I can leave this plugged into the meat. I can monitor this remotely, my Fireboard app, log everything like I do on my normal Fireboard too. And it serves a great purpose for me in that capacity. So now, like I said, I was using it at the fire station, I was using it around the shop here, I was using it camping, and it got to the point where at home, I started picking this up over the Thermopen. Again, the reason why is I can log all that stuff. Every time I take an instant thermometer reading with it, that logs it into Fireboard. So all that data, all that stuff for me, I use Fireboard religiously to log my cooks. So it's just one more thing that ties into the system very well. The other really cool thing about this is it can be used as a display mode. So if you're a Yoder user or you use Fireboard religiously like I do, you can put this into sync mode, and what that will do is if you're running the Fireboard or you're running your Fireboard controlled pellet grill, in our case the Yoder, this will pop up as a display. So I like that because a lot of times when I'm around the house doing things, my phone is set aside. I don't really want to be dealing with my phone. So I will bring this out, put it in sync mode, and it will display what's going on my Fireboard without having, obviously I can't bring the Fireboard with me or not having to use my phone. The magnets on the back means I'm out in the garage, I can stick this thing to a shelf and it's in my view all the time. And when the alarms go off, it vibrates. Now there's no noise. I wish there was an actual audible alert, but it does vibrate when you do hit the alarm. So all in all, the Fireboard Spark, yes, it's a little bit more expensive than a Thermopen at 150 bucks, but you got to understand the capabilities of what you get out of this, and the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth, the wireless capabilities are phenomenal. And again, in that Fireboard realm, it just cannot be beat. So again, I use this thing religiously. It's really waterproof, and actually the thing that I didn't realize I would like so much is that it's rechargeable. So what's nice about that, and again for me at the fire station or camping, this thing dies, I just simply recharge it. I don't have to go chase down batteries, especially if it's a specialty type battery. It just gives me the best of everything that I need. So there are some features with this that I haven't used yet. One feature in particular is the NFC. What that is NFC is a near field reader. So I think it's more designed for your commercial settings where you're temping different kinds of foods. So what you can do is that you can get a near-field chip, and it's just a little small round chip that has an ID. It kicks off an RF frequency. You put this next to it, it recognizes that frequency. Well, you can program it to say, okay, say I'm cooking chicken, say I'm cooking steaks. So the chicken I want done at 165, the steaks I want done at 145. Basically, if you put this little NFC chip, you program it for chicken, 165, you come over with your Fireboard Spark, you tap it, it now locks itself into that mode that is on that NFC. You take your reading, it logs it into Fireboard, and you move on to the next one. You tap it onto the meat one and say we're going to take that to 135. It locks it in here, records, it'll say steak, 135 alarm, record that reading, and move right on. So I'm going to order some of those and see what I can actually do with them. See if I can kind of integrate it into a backyard style cook if it helps out for me at all there. But again, I think this Fireboard Spark gets highly overlooked as far as its capabilities, but like I said, for me, it's come kind of irreplaceable. It's replaced my Thermopen, and I still have the Fireboard 2 that I use for powering stuff, but most of the time I just need a single probe, and this guy is it. So one of the cooler features on here that I really like to use a lot is to use this in sync mode. So what that does is it allows you to take this reading off this Fireboard 2 drive and move it over to this guy so you can use this as a remote. So setup on this is very simple. You go ahead and go to the menu, push and hold the button, go down to settings, push and hold to confirm, sync mode will go to on, push and hold to change that, and just let her go. So it will go ahead and show you what device it's reading, what channel it's reading, and what temperature it's reading. So that is great because if it, again, you can watch this and the magnet on the back, I will stick this on something metal like the shelf in my garage, and I just go about my merry way, and it monitors the Fireboard. I don't have to pull my phone out, don't have to do any of that, and it makes life a lot easier. So like, watch, I'll go ahead and plug in a second here, and let's see if it starts getting a reading. It sure does. And now you can see it has now split my screen and shows me both of those readings. Super cool. Now I'm going to go into my app and I am going to change the channel and give it a low alarm. Now it doesn't really give you a good warning, so that's the only downside I don't like with the alarm is you got to pay attention to it. But it's awesome for being able to monitor and pay attention to what's happening there. Like I said, hopefully in their next version or maybe an update here, I would love to, not even sure this has a speaker in it, but I would love to be able to use this overnight. So like have this on my nightstand next to the bed. I got an overnight brisket cook or something. And if alarm goes off, then this thing is just going to annoy the crap out of me and wake me up and come down and get the brisket. So, but right now, just the ability to see it is huge, and you can use your phone as the backup on it as well. So, a few of the things I don't like about this is the way that the probe pulls out here. So it's actually a little bit like, compared to the Thermopen where you can kind of do it one-handed, just reach over and flip it. This, you definitely got to have two hands on it. It's not as smooth. I mean, it definitely feels stout once it's out, but getting it out of this initial holder here can prove to be a little bit tricky. Like I said, especially if you're going to try to do it one hand, it's almost impossible. But that's really kind of my only gripe with this is just kind of that little bit of awkwardness there. It does take you a little bit to get used to the single button menus. That's a little weird, so push and hold to get to where you're at, and then, tap it to move along, and then push and hold to confirm again. So that's just a little bit weird, but once you get used to it, get that built in your muscle memory, it's really not that big of a deal, especially for the capabilities that this thing has. So all in all, Fireboard Spark, like I said, it is a must-have in my quiver. I have figured out so many different uses for this. Super versatile. It's definitely made my cooking abilities that much better by having this, or just make life that much more simpler for me. And we've got them available at the BBQ HQ. So make sure you go ahead and like this video, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and send this to your friends. Push them over the edge and get the spark. It'll elevate your cooking game. No questions asked.